Welcome back to another episode of the Gamblers Grind Podcast. It's your boy Make a Wish here, and I have to make sure that you guys are very clear for my NBA basketball bettors out there. All right. So, as we all are aware, we have a few more games left. Actually, to be precise, today is the 10th. The last final regular season game. The last final regular season games happen on Sunday, the 14th. All right, so 14, 4 days. 4 days left in the regular season. That being said, there's one thing that has to be very, 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 very clear for you guys. The motivation levels for each team vary drastically. And for what they're playing for is very dependent upon where they're currently standing in this where they currently stand in the standings. Okay. So let's say like this right now for the East. Let me take a quick look. The East here now. I'm not sure exactly who's playing yet. I have the slate up, but I'm not gonna go back and forth yet. We have one Orlando Magic, New York Knicks, Cleveland Cavaliers are all tied at 46 wins. One loss in between, with the Cavaliers having one. So literally one game off from each other. So if any three play tonight, that's going to drastically change their motivational levels. If they play each other, that's going to make for a really, really tough game for both of them. They're being serious. That's the one thing I want to say. Like, these games right now, they're not playoff games, but they're going to be played at a higher intensity because they're trying to make sure they put themselves in a proper place for success in the long run. Because if you guys aren't aware, because the top six are guaranteed in the playoffs. 7 through 10, they have to earn the right to be a 7-8. All right. So I'm not gonna get into the playing right now, but as the bottom four battle for placement, after that's all said and done, the seeding happens depending on what happens with the places. So 1 plays 8, 2 plays 7, 3 plays 6, 4 plays 5, and knowing who your competition is going to be going into the playoffs drastically can alter your motivational level for where you want to put yourself placed at. So like I said, even though we have 3 teams from the the Eastern Conference actually combating right there, they're not going to play each other in the playoffs. Whoever's going to be, well, not right away, at the first round. So that being said, that's going to change how they motivate themselves. Because every team isn't built to beat every other team. I mean, let's just Celtics. We're going to talk about that right now. So like I said, right now the motivational level changes for each team depending on what they're playing for, if they're playing for anything at all, and if they're thinking about the next couple games. Because starters are going to be playing hard, or they're going to be resting depending on what the motivational levels are. So like I said, take that into consideration for every single game playing tonight. And actually, because I didn't think about it until literally like 2 seconds ago, let's go through and walk through the slate and see a little quick analysis for what you guys wanted to take into consideration when you're making your placing your bets tonight. Because there are some blowout potentials that might set starters. Starters might be sitting, just getting ready for the next couple of games. So we also have to look at the next few games to see how they're actually going to consider playing for it, going forward, you know? So like I say, first game we have tonight. Well, I shouldn't say first game, but 7 o'clock game. We had the Grizzlies and the Cavaliers, all right? So before we get into anything, we had the Cavaliers at 5th Eastern Conference, like I just said, tied for 3 other teams. This game should be a very important game for them to win. So check also the injuries, who's playing, who's not playing. It's going to be very, very, very important in the next couple games. Now, like I said, Memphis, if I'm correct, yeah, they are out. They've been eliminated already. So right now, when a team is already eliminated, they only thing they can do is cause trouble because they have no reason to play other than to play basketball, get the paycheck, and to cause mayhem in the standings. If I don't know off the top of my head, if there's any bad blood between Memphis and the Cavaliers, Memphis might play harder simply to make sure the Cavaliers drop a game and go down the standings. and potentially go off into the play-in tournaments. Because they're only 2 games up from 7th place right now, which is 44 at Phillies. So these things are things you have to take into consideration. Next game up, we have Charlotte and Atlanta. Well, Atlanta, they're already guaranteed to be in the playing spot. So technically speaking, motivation to thrive harder, the next person out at the number is 5 spots down. They can't get in. So Atlanta's guaranteed to be in the play-in. And no matter, let me rephrase that. If the Bulls lose a game or two and the Hawks win, they could move up to the 9th seed, which there may be some more motivation to play, but that is kind of I can't call that one for you guys. Who I say? Charlotte Hornets? Yeah, Charlotte Hornets are out. They're trash. So right now, like I said, only thing they could do is spoil them. So you could take it as potentially look at all the other resources, the news outlets, and that kind of stuff. If the Hawks are going to sit the starters for a little bit and play the second or third second or third strings, or they play hard and try to make sure to get above Chicago so they can be in the 9th seed instead of 10th seed. That's something to consider, like I said. And the Charlotte Hornets, like I said, they have nothing to do except cause mayhem. Sometimes it's nice to be that guy. Who else? Toronto and Brooklyn. Well, so basically, if you guys are going to bet on this game, this is the battle of the bums. There is no disadvantage or no advantage to these teams playing hard to win, other than street cred. Because the Raptors have, 6 games up on the... Oh, sorry. They're 6 games behind the Brooklyn Nets. Wrong team. And there's nothing to play for except for playing the game of basketball you love for the paycheck you're gonna get, and looking good for the last couple games, you know. So this is not even a mayhem causing game. So there's no real motivation to play. So I'll take the orange with a grain of salt. Next up, this one is the big one. Whoo boy, Dallas and Miami. Let me just look at the numbers because Miami's in 8th right now in the East, right? And they are one win behind the Sixers in the 8th spot. So if they win this game, which they may be kind of more pressure to do so, they potentially move up a spot. Whereas the Mavericks, where they're at, they are 2 games above Phoenix. So there's a potential that they might want to try a little hard. Like I said, it's like 3 or 4 days before the end of the regular season. And depending on the schedule, they might determine to sit Luka or play him hard to make sure to get the W. Because these things are very, very critical in regards to that. But again, that's really hard to say. Important game for both teams. Not so much from the Dallas Mavericks side, unless they're worried about the Phoenix Suns coming back and bumping them down to 6. Ooh, no, I lied. Rephrase that. Mavericks are only 2 games above the Phoenix Suns and the Pelicans. And they're 3 games above Sacramento Kings and the Lakers. So that 6th spot right there, 6 or 7, determines the top 6 are automatically in playoffs. Bottom 7 to 10, they have to fight for that spot. So they're motivated to probably stay above the cut. But again, be careful with that, because take it with a grain of salt. Be careful how you bet, because take that into consideration potentially. Motivation matters a lot here. If you don't believe me, just put your money out there and hope for the best. Don't do that, please. Next game up, the Magic and the Bucks. Where are they at? The Bucks are 1 game. Oh, I'm sorry. This is a very critical game. Both Eastern Conference. Whoever wins this game potentially takes the 2nd seed. That's critical right now. And then, if I recall correctly, Giannis might not be in the game. So they're going to be down one of the best players for the Bucks. So while I'm saying this to you guys, I'm thinking about my bets I'm gonna be making a little bit. um, Milwaukee Bucks on the Magic. So there's nothing much more to say about that one. I imagine both the teams should be probably playing to Milwaukee Bucks to be playing to keep the second seed, and Orlando Magic trying to take the second seed. So this one might be a very intense game. I don't want to call too much. Milwaukee Bucks had the pace. We're at the top 6 now. I'm not looking at my numbers right now. They're like top 6 in the NBA for pace. Defense has faltered a bunch this year from last. Orlando Magic has a decent amount of defense, slower pace, higher score. So it's hard to say. I'm not gonna get too far into analysis. That's another video, another day. You know, I'm not actually doing picks for NBA yet. Not too much yet. It's a little different. I'll talk about that right now. No, I'll talk about that right now. All right, going on to the next game. So that game, I was a little careful of that. But next game, Sacramento and OKC. Sorry. Oh, my goodness. Spurs. San Antonio Spurs and the Thunder. I mean, because guys say, you guys already know, Spurs are bottom of the barrel of the division. No, I'm sorry, of the conference. Bottom of the barrel. But if you guys happen to notice, the Spurs have been playing with a lot more intensity, and I guess Popovich kind of let them off the chain recently, so they've actually been able to do a little more. And actually, they've been taking down some teams of higher caliber, higher quality. All right. And this here, what did I say was they're playing OKC? OKC right now is actually kind of important for them. They are third in the division, one game off from the number 1 or number 2 seed. So the top 3, Minnesota, Denver, Oklahoma, have been battling for the top seed for the past 2-3 weeks now. So this game is very important for OKC if they want to potentially take the number 1 seed or have a battle for contention in the top slot. Whereas the Spurs, like I said, this is a game for just complete mayhem. They want to ball out with the boy Wemby down there and make sure they get all the money. Get all the money. Make sure they cause the mayhem. That's the only thing I can see. They've been playing really good, like I said, as of recent. So that's the game that I imagine our boy SGA should be doing a lot of work, or trying to do a lot of work to make sure the team actually secures that win. So motivation matters. I'll keep on saying that by the end of this. You guys can be saying it with me. Motivation matters. Next up. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Minnesota and Denver. Like I just said, the battle for the top seed. They are both tied. 54 wins, 24 losses. So whoever wins this match whoever wins the match will have the top seed. So I imagine that they're going to be balling like crazy here. Minnesota probably going to up the defense, and Nuggets are going to just let loose with Nikola. And that's what I expect. But man, it's going to be a slow game though. Low scoring. That's what I imagine. This is going to be an interesting game. This game matters a lot. Matters a lot. So I imagine they both should be bringing it all. So again, like I said, be careful in this. I want to say it's probably like a pick. I didn't look at the numbers in this one yet. Look at the odds. But just keep that in mind. Keep that in mind. And the last game, is the last game? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yeah, 8 games tonight. It wasn't 9. Now I'm a little worried. Let me double check. Yep, I was right. 8 games for the night. And so the last game of the night will be the rematch. Oh my goodness. Of the Suns against the Clippers. This time Clippers at home. And if you guys didn't happen to catch this, I saw this earlier. So double check, make sure everything's there. The Clippers might be sitting Paul George, Kawhi Leonard, and Was it Westbrook or Harden? One of them. One of them. So yeah, the potentially three might be sitting. So like I said, this is one time where they're looking about the next game or getting ready for the next set of games. And hopefully the second string can clean up the Suns. Suns were playing like trash yesterday, to say at least. But going down to the rankings though, Clippers are 4 games up on the Suns after last night. And they're 2 games up on the Mavericks. So this game actually they can technically give a game. Because no matter what happens here, that's the one thing. This is one thing I was talking about with the motivation. This right here for the 4 and the 5, they play each other no matter what in the playoffs. So if Mavericks stay where they're at and they get a win, okay, they're 49 and Clippers are 50. Nothing changes. If Mavericks win the next game and Clippers get over the next game, it's 50-50. They're still the same. Nothing changes. Oh, then guess what? If the last game they decide to throw again the Clippers, they're at 50, and now Mavericks are 51. Nothing changes because now just 4 or 5, they flip flop. They're still playing each other. So going forward, this could be an appropriate assessment for the coaching staff, in regards to resting the starters the entire time, but it potential to be the case because you don't have motivation after yesterday's game to actually really care about pushing too much because no one's overtaking them. The only thing that can happen is Phoenix Suns go on a 4-game run, which I don't think they have time, which they're playing them tonight. The Pelicans go on a 4-game run, which I don't think they have the time. I'm not looking at the schedule right now, but I don't think they play 4 times in the next 4 days, you know? So they can't catch up from there. So these kind of things matter. Like I said, these what I'm talking about, like these things, the motivation matters, injuries matter, people sitting, that kind of stuff, like everything like that plays a huge, huge part in sports betting. So if you're going to look into this, everyone's going to start getting ready for the playoffs. So everything's going to be thinking about the future right now. Everything matters. Yeah, I'll leave it at that. Everything matters right now. So that's the biggest thing I want to make sure I stress to you guys, that these last 4 days of the regular season, everyone's motivation is a little different. And I gave you a little run-through recap of some of the people right there about how different it's going to be for each team. So take that into consideration for the next couple of days. I might make another video about this too tomorrow, just because, why not? Just keep that in mind. For when you place your bets with the potential of not necessarily upsets happening, but people's props may not be coming to fruition, or they're maybe playing a little harder or playing a little less or being pulled out entirely. Keep that in mind if you make your bets come up, all right? So with that being said, I'm ending right there. So yeah, like I said, my catchphrase gonna be happy gambling grinders. I'm gonna rock with that for now. Happy gambling grinders. Make a wish. Out.